John loved his Camaro. It was his most prized possession. He would wash and polish it every weekend to keep it looking its best. One Saturday morning, while washing the car, his daughter Lily played nearby. Sometimes I still hear her scream at night. John recalls the terrifying event. "Daddy, look out!" Lily shouted, not realizing she had just saved her father's life. Everything seemed to move in slow motion. Lily was frozen in place, and it was amazing she could even scream. Her father heard her words, but it was already too late. Lily watched in horror, tears in her eyes. Though she couldn't prevent the inevitable, she knew she had to help. But how? No one would believe what she had just seen. Luckily, their home security camera recorded everything. But before we dive into the story, make sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss out on our exciting stories. Earlier that morning, John had been in a great mood, ready to take his Camaro for a spin. Lily begged to come along, and despite his usual reluctance, John allowed her to join him. After their ride, Lily played on her scooter while John washed the car, unaware of the danger lurking nearby. John kept an eye on Lily at first, but soon he became completely focused on his car. That's when Lily screamed again. John turned around, confused, as Lily pointed towards something on the ground. "Daddy, behind you!" she yelled, but John couldn't see anything through the soapy water. Suddenly, John's foot slipped. He fell backward, hitting his head on the pavement. Lily cried out in panic as she saw her father lying unconscious, his head bleeding heavily. Lily knew she had to act quickly. She ran to her father's side, tugging at his arm, trying to move him. He was too heavy for her small frame, but she didn't give up. Finally, with one last pull, she managed to drag him onto the grass, away from the soapy driveway. Her heart raced as she saw the blood pooling from his head. She sprinted into the house, searching for help. Just then, her father's phone rang. It was her mother. Lily quickly answered, screaming, "Mommy, come home! Daddy is hurt!" Her mother, Isabella, rushed home without hesitation. When she arrived, the sight of her husband lying unconscious terrified her. She immediately called 911 while Lily sat by her father, holding his hand. As they waited for the ambulance, Isabella tried to calm her daughter, but Lily couldn't speak about what had happened. The ambulance arrived, and John was rushed to the hospital. On the way, John drifted in and out of consciousness. At the hospital, the doctors told Isabella that John had suffered a severe head injury and would need emergency surgery. Hours passed with no news, and the tension in the waiting room grew unbearable. Finally, a doctor emerged, but his expression was grim. He explained that John's condition had worsened during surgery, and they needed Isabella's permission to attempt an experimental procedure. Lily, desperate to save her father, urged her mother to agree. Isabella hesitated, torn between fear and hope. She loved her husband and didn't want to lose him, but the risk was high. As she struggled to make a decision, she turned to Lily. "Sweetheart, if you can tell the doctors what happened to Daddy, maybe they can help him." Lily's eyes filled with tears, but she understood the importance of sharing what she knew. She asked to speak with the doctor in private. After a few tense minutes, Lily finally found the courage to explain the events leading up to her father's accident. The doctor listened intently and then rushed back into the operating room without a word. Isabella watched in fear, unsure of what Lily had revealed. All she could do now was wait and hope that whatever her daughter told the doctor could save her husband. Hours passed before the doctor returned, this time with better news. "We did it," he said with a smile. "John is stable now. The surgery was successful, but he's still unconscious." Relief washed over Isabella and Lily, but the doctor warned that John's recovery would be slow and uncertain. When John was finally moved to a recovery room, Lily and her mother rushed to his side. However, when John opened his eyes, his first words were shocking. "Who are you?" he asked, looking at his wife and daughter with confusion. Isabella's heart sank as she tried to explain. "John, it's me, your wife. "And this is Lily, your daughter." But John's face remained blank, his eyes searching theirs with no recognition. Isabella, panicked, turned to the doctor, asking, "Is this normal?" The doctor sighed, explaining that due to the head injury and surgery, memory loss was a possibility. It could be temporary, or it might take time for his memories to return, the doctor reassured them. Lily was devastated. The father who had always been her hero didn't recognize her anymore. John didn't remember his family, where he lived, or even what had happened that fateful day. Over the next few weeks, Isabella and Lily worked tirelessly to help John recover his memories. They brought family photo albums, told him stories of their past, and reminded him of his favorite moments. Slowly, bits and pieces started to come back. It took about a month for John to regain most of his memories, and the doctor said that was remarkable progress. Finally, after a month and a half in the hospital, John was ready to go home. But one mystery still remained. What had happened that day? On John's last day in the hospital, Isabella finally approached the doctor to ask what Lily had told him during their private conversation. The doctor paused for a moment before recalling the story. The doctor remembered the details clearly. "Lily told me she had been playing with her scooter when she noticed something moving near her father. At first, she thought it was the garden hose, but then she realized it wasn't. It was a snake, a very poisonous one. Before she could warn him, the snake bit John on the ankle." Isabella gasped in shock as the doctor continued. The venom started spreading through John's body quickly, which is why his condition worsened during the surgery. None of us knew he had been bitten until Lily told me. That's when we realized we needed to do a blood transfusion to save his life. Isabella was speechless, her eyes filling with tears as the doctor explained how close John had come to dying. If Lily hadn't told us about the snake, we wouldn't have known to look for venom in his system. The transfusion was done just in time. The weight of the situation hit Isabella hard. Without Lily's quick thinking and bravery in that moment, John might not have survived. She looked at her daughter, filled with pride and gratitude. When John finally came home, the family decided they couldn't stay in the house where the terrible event had occurred. They moved to a quieter, safer neighborhood far from any danger of venomous snakes, hoping to put the terrifying ordeal behind them. But one thing was certain. Lily's quick action had saved her father's life. The family knew they had been given a second chance, and from that day on, they cherished every moment they had together.